we come together as the membership of the ANC at our conference on behalf of the people of the Free State. Such that at the time when we engage in the important content of conference, policy issues upon which service delivery will be unleashed, then we're talking to our people. So today is day 2. In terms of our process, we are going to deal with the credentials. Basically, whoever that is here as a delegate is a true reflection of what happened in the branches in terms of the branch general meeting. It is a very delegate process of the ANC, and that's why we are spending sufficient attention on that particular process. Given the issues that we know that as a province we're faced with, I don't want to talk about that. Immediately after the credentials report, we will proceed immediately to the organizational report. Both the credentials and the organizational report, and of course subsequently what will follow after organizational report, the treasurer's report, will be closed sessions. Immediately after those 3, we will then go straight to the nominations of the officials. You to know that in the Free State we were doing what I term 3-in-1 in terms of the broad preparations of Kalaka, 16 December. Our branch general meeting was inclusive of the preparations of the regional conference in Kharib region, as well our provincial conference, and of course the national conference, from which delegates were elected, nominations were done in relation to the 3 conferences. My English around 3-in-1. So the process of, as soon as we're done with the 3 things that I spoke about, what we call AISA, ANC Election Council, will then take over. Firstly, they will start by pronouncing the nominations from the branches of the ANC themselves. As I have explained, at our branch general meeting, we're doing the business of the provincial conference as well as the national conference. We're from our provincial general council, where we have dealt with the content of the national conference preparations. At provincial conference, we'll be dealing with the nominations for the provincial conference. Now, the nominations, AISA will also indicate that should there be any interest arising from plenary, from that meeting, how much it will take for any name that people would want to raise from the floor in terms of the number of branches, of course, aggregated into percentages. It means if you want to raise a name that may not have been nominated from the branch general meeting, must satisfy a particular threshold for that name to qualify to stand. That is the business of AISA. We'll be conducting the voting of the leadership. And then after officials, processes has been done, if there is a contest, I'm sure AISA will also pronounce that we are going for a secret ballot. whichever way they determine. If there's no contest, I'm sure the process will unfold as such. Immediately after which we will then break for the most important task of the ANC conference, policy discussions. We took a decision as the PC when we adopted the roadmap towards Galaka, that our provincial conference will be part and parcel of the preparations of the national conference. You to know that as a province, we did convene our own provincial general council where we were allocating ourselves time to deal with issues of the policy discussions arising from the national policy conference itself. As a province, we retrieved, came back, and the summary of the national policy conference was then distributed to branches for further discussions. Now, at the point of the provincial conference, we'll be attempting to consolidate what will be our provincial position around the policy issues, which have been canvassed, I think, for a period of time now, deliberately, so that we do justice as the ANC on the matters of our program for the next coming 5 years. We are confident that the people of South Africa will continue to privilege us and renew our mandate. And that's why that program will be the program that guides South Africa and our province for the next coming 5 years. Hence our claim that it's a very important one because it relates to the lives of our people. Our branches are located everywhere throughout our whole province, wherever our people are located. Branches come to our conference armed with knowledge of the conditions of our people from those respective wards and their localities. Now, we speak with confidence that indeed the ANC arising out of this conference would have been able to position itself strategically to respond to the challenges of our people arising from their respective communities. The real challenges that faces our people. Pela, as a province, one of the advantages is that we live amongst these particular people. We live with them. We know and understand their struggles every day. And that's why when we deal with issues of policy, we are very clear that it is a mandate arising from our people. Come elections, when we canvass, part of what we do is that we further engage them to consolidate what then becomes and constitutes the election manifesto, dealing with priorities. But broadly, the ANC is exposed to those conditions on a daily basis, given the strategic location of the branches of the ANC. Our anticipation is that whilst we are at the commissions, we will be then doing nominations for additionals. Coming back from the commissions, we'll then retrieve back, and AISA will then pronounce the entire leadership collective of the ANC in the province. It will be a brand new, out-of-the-box leadership, because the leadership in the ANC is on the basis of a program. It's not on the basis of faces. Whether you have seen Thabo Mbeki 3 times being elected by branches of the ANC, to us it's a non-issue. What is critical and what defines the ANC and its leadership is the program that must be implemented for a given period in the life of our country, in the life of the ANC. And I'm not dealing with whatever issues that I know that some of my colleagues are passionate about around the First State. We are clear, and our position remains, and it's a principled position that guides the ANC in how we deal with issues of the leadership. Leadership is a product of program. It has got nothing to do with personality, character, and whatnot, and all of that. A leader itself must be a product of the struggle, and a leader must relate to the program of the ANC, which constitutes the demands of our people. So that is the short briefing on the development, just to reassure you that our conference is proceeding. Yes, I'm sure by now all of you would know that in as much as the ANC Provincial Conference is convened on the basis of the ANC Constitution, but we are in a constitutional democracy. We respect the institutions of democracy. You would know by now that there is a judgment against us, and part of the preparation, certainly, we must try our level best. And I will say something very controversial to part of my colleagues, that sometimes to do what is humanly impossible, so that we adhere to the latter, finer details, technical interpretations, line by line, word by word, including to attempt to appreciate the context of that resolution of the court, so that we become consistent with our resolution that we are indeed adhering to the court judgment, and we are reconvening those 29 branches, and we have adhered to that 29 branches, and that's why provincial conference is proceeding. Don't ask me about people who are in court. I don't know anything about them. I am here at the provincial conference. I know everything else, that the ANC provincial conference is proceeding. Delegates are here. We had our first day, and we are now in the second day. Thank you very much. Till I come again to brief you on the development. We are anticipating to reconvene at 2 o'clock. And of course, deal with the business as I have outlined of what it is that we are going to deal with today. Thank you very much, colleagues. Should there be anything, I'm sure I'll be able to come back again. This was just a briefing on the development. The content of the conference will come from what the delegates will ultimately say in relation to policy and leadership. This is just a process. Me coming here to say, no, it's left instead of right. If you want details about that technicality, I'm sure nothing is wrong. We can allow you to do that. I'm noting Mariki, I'm noting Tilia, Mariki, and Clement. It means my briefing was very clear. Only 3 hands. Thank you very much for cooperation. 3 hands. Mariki, with you? Oh, there's a 4th hand, my brother from ANC. Which minister specifically? Okay, ministers. Number 2 will be Tsidi.
Thank you so much, Tabo. Tsidi News 24. Just a couple of questions. The first one, I just wanted to find out, what was the delay? The program was meant to start at 9. What was going on? It's already almost 2 o'clock. And almost 2 o'clock, what was the delay? Secondly, you said you don't want to speak much about people in the court, but what do you know about the application being said to be brought against the province? Thirdly, Tabo, you're speaking about how you are reconvening from DGM. Yesterday you said the last one was taking place. What is it actually? What is happening with the 29 branches? Because there's no clarity. You said one thing yesterday, you said something completely different this afternoon. So if people got clarity, are you reconvening or have you? I don't understand where you stand. Thank you.
Brother Clement.
Thanks. I just wanted to check with the top official. When we spoke to the provincial secretary yesterday, he said Secretary General Bredeman actually promised to send one of the top 6 officials yesterday. There was no one yesterday. Has the Secretary General said anything about that? Will he be sending anyone from the top officials to implement? And I wanted to ask about something. I'll come back to it.
Do you know anything about an arrest warrant?
Oh. Are you done, Brother Clement?
Yes, I would want to.
Thank you. The last one? Oh, no. The last before.
Nicholas Dart from NCA. My comrades from Eastern Core and EWN covered most of it. I'll reiterate. You don't want to talk about people going to court, but is there any move from the current provincial executive to answer to a court case or these papers that have been lodged in the Bloemfontein High Court to interdict this gathering, as well as seek an arrest warrant for the chairperson of the province based on, I think, ignoring the previous court order?
The provincial chair is ignoring the court order.
According to the people that are lodging papers in the Bloemfontein High Court. Sorry, Tom, I just remembered that question. I wanted to find out how many branches are boycotting this conference. The secretary yesterday said they will know after the registration. So now that the registration is done, do you know how many branches are not here?
My brother? Oh. I provoked your thinking. It's okay. Oh.
With this whole issue from the ANC, to what extent do you think it is disadvantage you going into the national election conference? What as you said, when you hold the DGM, you're holding them not only for the provincial conference, but also for the national one. In terms of
So what was your question?
Question, what extent do you think it's going to disadvantage you as the ANC in the province, as you go to the national election conference?
What is going to disadvantage? Oh. My sister? The terms.
Yes. Do you know his whereabouts and why he did not show up this day for the one of the
All right. Can I attempt to respond to questions? Number one, the ministers who are here, Minister Mahlobo, Minister Msevenzi Zwane, Minister Zulu, Minister Malusi Kikaba is also here. They are here as leaders of the ANC in their own right. All of them are what we call the national deployees to the province. In other words, as we convene the provincial conference, national must play an oversight over us. And these will be the representatives of the national leadership to work with us and, of course, to guide the province in convening the provincial conference. In terms of the constitution, the PC preserves the right to convene its own provincial conference, but national plays this important role. We have reconvened all branches as per the court judgment. Let me stop there. Number 4, we are not aware of any court case against us. It is media yesterday, and I think even now, my suspicion is that we're insinuating there's one. Up until our lawyers are saying there's something on the table, we can't canvass for anything to come our way. We are at the provincial conference of the ANC, and we're focused to its business. And our eyes are on the process, so that we achieve both the political objectives of this conference, and we are sensitive to the other external issues as I spoke about. That at the same time, this conference has got to be sensitive towards the court judgment. Something which was speaking with authority, that indeed, in our own understanding and view, we've satisfied it to the latter and to our satisfaction. yes, it's true that we were expecting that National will deploy an official, but the ANC process is not saying that it will be an official. National deploying a national leader. We would have loved as a province that were addressed by one of the officials, but any other leader of the ANC operates within the collective leadership of the ANC. The message that will be delivered, which was delivered, by the way, yesterday by Comrade Mahlobo, will be the same message arising from the national leadership of the ANC to guide us as a province to appreciate the national conditions within which we are convening our provincial conference. And we have appreciated that particular address. It will be part and parcel of the content that guides delegates as we engage into policy issues. A number of issues have been raised, both from the political report as well as the national address. We are not aware of any warrant of arrest, and we are not expecting anybody to be arrested. The chairperson of the ANC is not ignoring the court judgment. As I said, as a PEC led by the chair, we've done everything else, including at this point, partly why from time to time we had to pause, we had to stretch consultations, we had to consult with almost everybody. Or if a delegate can be seen, the face of the delegate can be seen to be sad, we start getting worried and say, are you sure you are happy? Or that's just how far this leadership is trying to go, to do what I termed to be humanly impossible, that everybody else has got to be happy. Under normal circumstances, it doesn't happen. These are political processes. Democracy in itself, people are never happy about the outcomes of democracy. And the ANC has got no intention to thwart its own internal democracy, simply because all of us has got to be happy. But we're even trying to reflect that spirit, that we're doing everything else to demonstrate both to the court and the people of South Africa and the Free State that we have no intention to defy the court. But at the same time, the African National Congress must be able to conduct and conclude its business. It can never be a never-ending process. Ultimately, people have got to internalize the fact that there must be outcomes of a democratic process. And that's why part of what we did as this leadership is to engage those people. I did speak to you when I was here during PGC that part of our resolution was to instruct the regional structures of the ANC, of course, PEC deployees into these regions to be deployed at those meetings. Engage all branches about the court judgment, its implications, and the PEC resolution. Why we have opted to take that decision instead of appealing the court judgment. As well as an action plan of taking those 29 branches to the branch general meeting. People who took us to court, we created space to engage them, those branches which were affected. I don't know now what is it that the ANC in this province must do. Now, I'm highlighting those things to try to demonstrate that we have done everything else in as far as we are concerned, so that the Free State ANC must be able to attend the national conference and on behalf of the people of the Free State, because that is the platform that takes final policy positions of the ANC that is going to run this country for the next coming 5 years. And we can never take a decision, willingly or not, indirectly or not, aware or not, that their views must not be integrated within the policy consolidation of the ANC. Otherwise, the ANC can't resolve their problem if it doesn't know their challenges. At the point of the processes, I've outlined it. At the point when we are dealing and adopting credentials, who would know who is here, who is not here. But I think I must caution. It's going to be difficult to say this is a boycotting delegate. Because even as we interrogate the credentials of the ANC, all delegates are expected and they would be allowed to interrogate credentials. Although we must caution that we don't have stock steward of branches of the ANC. Our expectation is that delegates from that respective branch must be able to stand up and raise an issue to say this is not a true reflection of our branch general meeting. And of course, the committee that deals with conference preparations would then be deployed to deal with the matter. I don't foresee anywhere where credentials will say these are people who are boycotting conference. And we have never received anything that says there's anybody who intends boycotting our conference. In fact, even the content of boycotting the conference, we don't know what does it entail. As far as we are concerned, all delegates who are supposed to be here are here. And in the interest of the media, both CR and DZ, all delegates, that's what I mean, they are here. And all of them will be afforded an opportunity to interrogate, engage, spend sufficient time, given other issues, as you know them, to the extent that we try to achieve the impossible, that everybody else is happy. So that we don't do it the ordinary way of the ANC, majority rules. The intention of the PC is that we are going to have to give everybody an opportunity to raise any other issue, including when we believe, but this has got nothing to do with the matter on the table. But we will stretch and allow such people to be able to raise those issues. So the issues of boycott, we can't speak on them. We are not aware. In fact, as far as we are concerned, there's nobody boycotting the provincial conference of the ANC. Nothing is going to, in fact, let me be specific. The issues of litigation in the province has never, in terms of their content, had anything to do with the delegates that must attend the national conference. The issue has been the interdicting the provincial conference, questioning the legitimacy of the PEC. It has been a whole list of many things that have been fundraised from time to time, but at no point and stage that they related to questioning the status of delegates from the province arising from the BGF attending the national conference, including the Provincial Executive Committee, will be attending the national conference of the ANC. I think you have also seen the ASG emphasizing on that particular matter. Well, the provincial secretary yesterday, and I'm quoting him because the provincial secretary is the CEO of the ANC in the province. He's the one on behalf of the collective of the leadership who issues invite to meetings, and we then respond to him if we are unable to attend such meetings with apologies. What he said yesterday is what I will reiterate, that he has not received any apology from the deputy chair of the ANC. In fact, I heard it from some of you, my colleagues, when you said, we know for a fact that the deputy chair is not attending conference. And I didn't say anything because in terms of the ANC tradition, that's an internal matter. You know why you are interested in one person not attending a meeting of so many people. But what we can confirm on record, is that the deputy chair was part of the Provincial Executive Committee that took a decision that as a result of the court case, the provincial conference is no longer proceeding as planned by another court judgment. It has been reconvened to sit as from yesterday. Now, we speak with authority, as I reiterate what the provincial secretary said yesterday, that yes, indeed, the deputy provincial chair is aware that the provincial conference is sitting. And all leadership of the ANC throughout the whole province, including delegates, have been informed timelessly with regard to this particular meeting. So thank you very much. Let's praise ourselves for the juicy details of our conference. It's a very smooth conference, it's very stable, it's peaceful, and we're looking forward to achieve what we intend to achieve as the Free State Province. Thank you very much. You are unfair. You are unfair. I stressed. Our understanding was that this is just a process.
No, also about a delay. You take anything.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And
I thought I answered it indirectly.
You spoke now about how there have never been court issues around the delegates conference. Do you think they're being targeted on the spot now?
Come again?